off with legs up the wall. So go ahead and scoot your mat all the way up to touch the wall. And then the way that I tend to do it such that I'm not having to shimmy my hips all the way up to the wall is I'll get my glutes already touching, kind of like a side saddle version. And then from there, all you have to do is get your shoulder down and then just swing the legs directly up. I know. You can play the game if you want to. The little shimmy game, that's fine too. Sometimes that's what's going to work, but sometimes that gets me, so I'm a little bit more easily able to swing that. And know that you don't have to be you don't have to be touching the wall necessarily. You could be a little bit further away if the back and the hips are really tight. That's fine. You don't have to touch. So just find a spot that's going to be comfortable and let the legs just rest. Nice gentle stretch sometimes, or even just that letting of the blood pressure come out of your feet, the lymph draining out of your legs. That's also half what this is about. Good. So good deep breaths in and out. And just feel how your body's receiving this space. The idea that we're placing in the back of our mind is the idea of trying to find a deeper way to release. So oftentimes there's these cycles that we pass through in life, and it's like life is like a fractal, and patterns tend to repeat until we learn the lesson. And sometimes we're going through harder parts of the fractal. And so when we pass through those types of times, it's like our body tends to take on extra tension. Things get more tense in our body. Maybe we have less self-care time too, to make sure that we're stretching plenty and hydrating plenty. And so when we get to those tense times, it kind of carries tension through the rest of the fractal, even though the rest of the fractal maybe isn't so intense. So our idea today is trying to release some of that tension, trying to find it in the body and give it a chance to release, so that it doesn't have to carry with us through the rest of the cycle. So even in this position, it's first starting place. Perhaps assign a spot to release, like here I'm letting the feet release. The blood pressure is not nearly as high anymore. Or perhaps scanning through the body, you notice it's another spot that you're paying attention to. Hamstrings or other things. So from here, let's shift things to find new areas of release in the body. Let's allow legs to start going a bit wider. So some of us have awesome flexibility, like super open to the ground. Some of us are nice to just figure V shape, and that's great. Not a competition. This is whatever gravity can help us open up to. Try to pick up, make sure left and right heels are about the same height on the wall. That helps our hips stay a little bit more even. And just scan through whatever the experience is here. Is there any tension that's hiding out from some of those harder times? One of the things we can do to help release is just let the deep, slow breaths happen, right while we're in the midst of the stretch. Take a few more deep, relaxing breath cycles. When you're ready to shift, the bottoms of feet come together like a cobbler's foot. You choose how high up the feet are or how close they are to the hips. It's different for everybody. You choose, maybe the hands help to push the knees open. Or maybe that's not quite where you want to be. Maybe the arms just want to be relaxed. There's options, there's no pressure. It's whatever feels helpful. If there's movements of tension that maybe have been in this area for a while, maybe there's a way to help relax it. Breath or with imagery. Sometimes I take the image of a flower opening and I think of that being my muscles. And a gentle stretch. Just imagine that flower opening, creating more space. It's nothing about tension, it's nothing about tightness. It's just the flower working on opening. Two more slow, deep breath cycles right here. We're slowly going to release out, gradually toward a fetal position. You choose the side, you choose the speed. At your rate, maybe the knees come together and then you start walking the feet down to a side. Just find a comfortable fetal position sooner or later. Feel that nice rush of blood back to the legs. It's like by us having found a sense of release through this area and then rushing it with blood helps to kind of cleanse and reset this area with a whole new pattern. Gradually, as you feel ready to rise, we're going to end up in a fetal position facing forward. I like to place the knees nice and wide so I have space for the bolster to scoot up in between my legs. Then just start to find a way that's comfortable for you. Maybe you know to be a little bit higher, hands planted on it, forehead resting down. Maybe you drop lower, forehead directly down, or maybe head tilted to right. I'll tell you the point to switch if your head is to one side so that your neck can be balanced to both directions. But just find a comfortable, easy way to be with the low back like this. If your head has been to one direction, go ahead and switch. Just a couple more slow breaths. After the next exhale, find the hands on the floor, easy, pressing our spine up. Scoot the bolster just a little bit further forward, and then the knees come together to touch. Ultimately, knees point toward the back door, so off to the left side of the mat. Pull up the bolster to touch the right hip, and then place one hand on each side of the bolster. More or less, we're trying to twist the sternum to point down as we soften the elbows to lower. This is the space of a gentle twist. So, again, if your neck wants the additional cervical spine twist, you can flip your head to face away. I tend to toward that comfortable version. Deepening the twist would happen by the left knee pulling backwards just a little bit. What stories our spine is speaking of. Stories of the past, fractal patterns we've traveled down. A tenseness that doesn't need to be there, doesn't need to be part of our next iteration of fractal. We'll softly begin to switch sides. Find the hands on the floor. Press into them to slowly help the spine lift up. Then find whatever way is comfortable to switch. So maybe the bolster pushes away for a moment, giving us space to switch the legs around. Ultimately, the knees end up facing to the front door side. Toes tucked into the back wall. Pull up the bolster to the left hip. One hand on the ground to each side, sternum pointing down, begin to lower. And the neck position that works. Maybe shifting leg position if needed. That top leg, right one, maybe pull back any amount if you want more. Notice over the next few rounds of breath, if the breath can slow down just a little bit deeper, helping in that process of release. Even if you don't know the story necessarily, the energy that you're releasing, sometimes you have that intuitive sense that tells you it's time. Things are shifting. I don't know what it is, but it's shifting. So breathe through it. Two more slow, relaxing cycles of breath. After the second one, find the hands planting down to support our spine through the slow lift up. And then from here, what we're doing with our body is scooting the bolster a little bit closer to the back wall and then coming to sit on it, still facing the front door. So scoot it a little closer, come to sit, face front door. I'm going to pivot my side to also face front door, so you can kind of mimic exactly what I'm doing. Scoot closer to the wall. Good. So you'll notice on the first cycle that we're doing how close your body should be based on how your shoulder feels. Closer to the wall, as in like maybe even almost touching it, would be the very deep version of doing this. Being a little bit further away will be more gentle on the shoulders. So you'll have to play with this first one. But the idea is placing the right hand on the wall. We're going to take a slow rainbow. So that hand traces up. And you'll feel it gets tighter through that shoulder stretch as you start to trace a little bit backwards. So let it circle all the way down. And then reverse that rainbow back up. Good. So if this one was super, super easy, scoot closer to wall. If it was like barely able to do anything, scoot maybe a little further away. We're going to take another full rainbow like that with this arm. So up, go back. Good. Knees to go forward. We'll go one more time back. This time, leave it about shoulder height when it comes behind you. Right about where that level of shoulder is, kind of that tightest spot. So you'll notice if your chest kind of turns into the wall and the shoulder is definitely in a stretch, that's the more gentle variation. If your shoulder wants forward, you start to pull that left shoulder back a little bit, getting a little bit more open. A few more breaths right here. And then lean away from the wall to help free out the arm. That straight right arm will then cross over the body. Your left arm hugs again. This is the opposite side of the shoulder. Sometimes as I'm doing this, I'll try to get that right shoulder to drop down just a little bit. And then I'll tilt my head to the left shoulder. Use the head, release the shoulder out of the stretch. Maybe do a couple of shrugs with that right shoulder. When you feel ready to turn around, we'll start working on the other half. Facing the back wall when you're ready. Left hand on the wall. Kind of guessing your distance for this first one, so maybe scoot closer if you needed to before. This left hand hits its first rainbow. Welcome to be on the wall to help use the wall to help. Good. Return back. You need to adjust closer or further. This is a good time. Second rainbow. Try not to speed too much through it. So the spots that might have stories that need to be released. Sooner or later, we're ready to take a pause. So we'll trace up and back, pausing at that spot about shoulder height behind us. Again, turning to wall makes it easier. Feeling that right shoulder more open makes it a little bit easier. More breath right there. Away from the wall to release. Let that arm cross over, across the chest. Right arm hugs it in. Perhaps the shoulders hike up, so maybe push that left shoulder down. So you start to tilt the head over the right shoulder. More slow breaths. Get the tension out of this area. That gentle release, perhaps left shoulder wants to do a few shrugs. Good. What we'll do from here, keep the bolster in the facing, so the arrangement that it's in, but scoot it just a little further away from the wall. And we'll come up to sit at the end of it so we can face forward to mirror. So from here, elbows come into the inner parts of the knees. The feet are trying to go about as wide as mat. Further forward makes this easier. It helps you pull less crunched. Scooting in is a little deeper for hips. So elbows to inner knees. Hands are in prayer position. If those hands start to travel downward, it helps to push the hips open. Fun playing around until you find just the right spot for hips and for back. Start to let some good deep breaths flow through the hips right now. Great spot to have free-form neck stretches for those that want it. That could look like just dropping the head heavily forward. Could look like slow half circles, rolling one ear over one shoulder, and dropping chin to chest, switching sides. So that's an option if you wish to take it, but you could just sit here like a meditative spot, right up tall in the center. So options based on what experience your body is giving you right now. breathing shifts as we held it a bit longer, just notice you need to shift with it. And we're heading toward our final 3 slow, deep breaths. So imagine each exhale is a chance to release some of the energy that might have been trapped in this area. Our story. Creating space for new energy. So after that third exhale, we start to free out the arms. We're going to head toward a quad stretch. So left leg slides long. We're going to focus on right leg. This right leg, we try to tuck the toes backwards. So I'm going to give you options gradually. Knee going wider is a lot more gentle. So know that that's going to be your easier option. Pointing the knee more forward makes it a bit deeper. So you're welcome to try out the quad from here. So this would be working hands to the bolster behind you or to the floor behind you. If this is really not helping you feel anything in the quad, that's a sign maybe to go deeper, slipping past the bolster in front. And then using the bolster is a way to come in toward a little heart opener. Triangulate all the way down. So everybody's body is a little different, but find the spot where it's still restful for your experience. Take 3 more slow, deep breaths through this area. Take that third breath. Start to slide elbows in if you drop down. Prop yourself up. This knee is going to free its way all the way to swivel open. And we'll take a forward fold from that position. So some of us might be sitting on bolster, leaning forward. Some of us might be off bolster, leaning forward. And some of us might even swing bolster around to lean onto bolster. So just find that variation that's helpful for our body, right? We'll start to shift to the second side. So if you change bolster in a way that you need to bring it back, make the adjustment. Right leg will begin to straighten. Left, make the transition to tucked. Remember, the knee wider is more gentle on the knee. Forward is deeper. Sitting on bolster or not, we'll start to head toward hands on the floor. Or bolster. Maybe elbows. Sometimes deeper. Just listen to your body, how it's communicating to you in this area. Three more slow, relaxing breaths. Use your release to come up, bringing out the knees, split open. Find yourself releasing over the right straight leg. Keep props and feet in. If you're comfortable, no need to. One more deep breath of release right Rise up. Bolster behind us. We'll slip off the front to be sitting on the floor. Grabbing our strap. Need to set up our strap in a good. So feed loop through, depending on your type, but generally feed it through both and then back out the last one. Want it to be pretty big to start with. You'll start to put it over your body like a hula hoop. So it goes right behind your back. Some people come into cobbler's pose, and as you slip the strap, it goes over thighs, under the bottoms of feet. You want to have the flag pointing toward you so that you can tighten it up in a minute. As you start to lay back, it will tighten it on its own. So don't start off too super tight yet. Leave it kind of loose, but have the flag pointing toward you so you can grab it to pull it tighter if you wish. So you've got this whole loop set up. We're going to start heading into a nice little back bend over the bolster. So take it nice and easy, hands planting on the side of the bolster. And then start to lower to one elbow and next. That's how we'll end up with this very gently, this heart opener and hip opener. When you get there, if you wish to grab the strap and pull it tighter, that's your preference at this point. We'll be here for a little while. Just allowing the strap to help release the hips open. Allow the heart to arch open. Maybe part of our fractal story is years upon years of a hunched forward posture. This is a chance to release that open. Find an arm position that will support your journey. Maybe the arms swing a little bit wider. Or maybe you even take your elbows to goalpost shape, pulling the elbows as open as possible, possibly not even touching the ground. Or maybe there's other hand placements like on belly or arm stretches across chest. Lots of options here. Find a good arm position that's going to work. Our slow breaths helping to bring us toward this deeper sense of release through these muscle groups. Take 3 more gradual releasing breaths here. start to take a slow journey back up. Elbows slide in to pop us up a little bit. One hand plants, other props us up. Just take a breath or two, try and release forward toward toddler. We slip the strap off the feet. Start to free out our hula hoop, release the legs. And keep the strap, but slip it back out long. A very wide circle. Remove the bolster from your back. We'll lay down onto our back. We've got one more stretch using the strap here. So once we're laying back, our right foot is going to go into one end of the strap. And then the other end of our loop is going to be the back of the head. Just make sure it's not right where the metal is. You don't want to make the head uncomfortable. So you'll find that if the strap is too high up on the head, it'll kind of slip off the crown of the head. If it's too low back, the head has a tendency to rock back. So you're finding a spot right in between that keeps your head just lifted up softly. You need to switch straps and have this too.
I think I have some more straps.
Yeah, go ahead and toss it over.
Yeah, sure.
I might be able to use that one. Good. So if you need to tighten it, just grab your flag and tighten your loop. If you're happy with where you're at, that's great. Another option to make this a little deeper is this left leg slide long. So we won't be here too long, but just give the time that we have here the slow, easy breaths for this. And to support the switch, our hands come up, making sure neck is supported. Left foot steps in. Right foot takes the same option, whether it was knee bent or leg extended. Deep breaths for this half as well. Hamstrings are one of those chronically tight spots for a lot of people. So maybe there's something in our story, in our past, in our patterns that we've traveled through, kind of created this shape. Was there a way to try to release some of that energy? Even if we don't know what the story or the energy is, that release through the breath. And we go slow and deep. Take 3 last cycles for this half. You're ready to release out after that third breath. Strap can go easy off to the side. You choose a shavasana that will work today. 2 easy options would be just to slide the bolster under the knees very comfortably, or perhaps you want one last heart opener, so you slide it under the back like we were in that last pose, but lengthen in a new shape if you wish. So So you've got options. Find the placement that will be most helpful. Make your body comfortable. When you're there, sooner or later, let those breaths really take over. Huge inhales and exhales. And grab our fans. We'll begin to deepen our inhales, our exhales, introducing little movements back to the body. Stretching out in a way that feels good. Perhaps eventually taking a nice fetal position to one side. Doing a few bonus breaths here. As we're returning back to presence. Feeling ourselves kind of awakening with almost like a new body. Like a fresh start. It's happened right here, right now. Maybe 2 or 3 more breaths until you feel ready to come up to a comfortable seated place. We find our hands joining together in front of the heart. We feel this sense of freshness. Just because the pattern's gone this way over and over again, just because our body's this way, doesn't mean that's the energy we have to carry forward into the next cycle of our fractal. You can always choose to release some of those old energy patterns. And so with this idea of fresh start and release to lead us on, let's wrap up the time we shared together with a sound of Om. Deep inhale now. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.